Hey y'all, Binks here. We got a brand new OTA with plenty of nerfs and buffs. So let's get right into it. Hey folks, in today's update, we'll be giving some power to the Horde mechanic as well as continuing to adjust the state of tech cards, make a downward adjustment to a continued outlier strategy. We'll round it all out with a few improvements to some recently released cards that have landed a bit under. Let's go for it. Love to see that they want to improve Horde. I tried a bunch of Horde decks. Even when Zombie Mr. F released, and it's just not there yet. Obviously, with Hunger coming out, things might change a little bit, but we see some pretty big buffs here. Scarlet Witch going from a 3-2 to a 3-4, so making that body that you put down initially much, much stronger. And then Zombie Giant Man going from a 5-3 to a 5-4, and also increasing the amount of Horde by 1. So a 2 power buff on that. Or actually, I guess kind of 3 power, because he's going to gain 2 additional power. He's going to gain 1 additional power, and then he's going to have 1 additional power. So I guess it's like a 2 power total buff. But then you also get the +1 of the Horde. So like a 3 total power buff, 2 to Zombie Giant Man, and then 1 more to the actual Horde that you get. Early numbers coming from Zombies Duo are quite poor. This looks like a large buff, and it is. But we want to be clear that our intentions is that we will closely monitor the Horde package as it releases over the course of the season, pulling back if necessary. We view this as more of a failure to properly account for the release schedule than a development issue. Love that they called that out, because I think that many people agreed with that. They're having like Zombie Scarlet Witch and like the bomb card, Zombie Giant Man, come out first. Didn't really make sense because there just wasn't enough support to make Zombie Giant Man like anything. So to kind of admit, yeah, it was our problem with scheduling. I really like that. Much of our playtesting incorporated the full Horde package rather than properly accounting for the mechanic strength as it's introduced piece by piece. That said, there's still a fair amount of counterplay for Horde, and it's possible we missed low on our initial estimations regardless of the release complexity. Point being, want to make sure that Horde, which has many cards that rely on each other, is satisfying to play throughout the life of the season and beyond. To reiterate, we'll be quick to react to these buffs, put Horde over the top. The goal is that the mechanic creates a new and exciting deck for zombie fans and those who enjoy taking a bunch of game actions through Kitty Pryde skills, Hope Summers, and others. Really cool. Love how they kind of like talked about a lot of this, and love just like the way that they're being very honest about how it didn't work out well. They scheduled it not properly, and also maybe we didn't really understand how strong these things were, and just saying, hey man, we'll switch it up if we need to. That's awesome. And I do think that for like Kitty Pryde, Hope Summers enjoyers, having Zombie Scarlet Witch be much more powerful is very exciting, because that deck has lacked any kind of like real upgrade in a long time. And what a lot of people are excited for, myself included, Invisible Woman First Steps going from a 3-5 to a 3-3. Boy, oh boy, has this card just been okay existing as a 3-3 for far too long. Really awesome to see them finally doing this. They should have done this much earlier, but I'll take it now, I tell you what. Outside of the Horde hiccups, we've been quite happy with the ladder metagame as a whole. Decks are diverse, and even the end of turn deck we're hitting hasn't put up overwhelming play rates. That said, we still think the adjustments will help get things close to where they should be for the long term to improve diversity. Visible Woman First Steps has gotten plenty of press since her release. I'm going to guess that's supposed to be play, being the cornerstone of some dramatic interactions. While this power nerf won't truly be felt while she is operating at full strength, we do like to take precautions at a lower card's floor when they do have such tall ceilings. That's a really good point. Like, you want to have to feel like Jocasta feels much more risky to play as a 3-3, right? An Invisible Woman, even if you get like nothing out of her at 3-5, still feels okay. It is possible that we'll make some functional adjustments to her in the future as well. We aren't quite sure that we are comfortable or happy with how some of her interactions with other cards give her that aforementioned ceiling, but for now we are taking a simple approach, and we'll see how much it affects her win rate. I feel like they're talking about what I've wanted to see from Invisible Woman First Steps from the very beginning, and have her say they trigger an additional time as opposed to they trigger twice, because that would make it so that it wouldn't go from once to like twice to 4 times, or it's like twice to 4 times to 6 times like it is now. And then with Jocasta triggering so many times, it just gets absolutely outrageous at this point. So having that level of stopping it, I think, would be really good. But going to 3-3 is going to hurt the deck. And also, you might notice Invisible Woman's First Steps 3-3, Jocasta 3-3. A lot of other cards in that kind of like realm are pretty low power when they're first played out. Think Thana, think the other card, think like Sunspot. I think that we might see a bit of a Lady Deathstrike renaissance if this deck still stays around, which could be really cool. I think that card's very fair and very powerful. All right, boy, oh boy, I'm going to talk about this one first. Mobius and Mobius back to a 3-3. They heard my calls, they heard my rage, they've heard my anger for too long. They said, fine, we will put Mobius to a 3-3. Whatever. Love that. I think going to 3-4 was really annoying. It's really upset me that this already really annoying tech card is now something that isn't like or like doesn't feel bad to just play out if you don't get much value out of it. At a 3-3, especially nowadays, it feels bad. And another reason to potentially be running more Lady Deathstrike. We have Shadow King going from a 2-2 to a 3-4. Shadow King has to now have the most stat changes of like any card ever. Released as a 4-3, went to a 3-3, went to a 2-2, went to a 3-3, went to a 2-2, went to a 3-3, went to a 2-2, went to a 3-4. I think that might be all the ways Shadow King has changed. There might have even been a step at somewhere in between, but boy, oh boy, they have just tried to figure it out. This card released as a 4-3, by the way. I think about that all the time. That was very funny. As a 3-4, it's pretty solid. And Rouge going from 3-2 to 3-3. Rouge has been just a card I think is absolutely fantastic that a lot of people just aren't playing, especially with Enchantress being a 5-8. You kind of need to feel like a more rampy deck to be able to justify playing out a 5-8. But now you got the Rouge here at the 3-3. It's looking real tasty. Tech card portion, we've been happy with the movements on tech card front recently, but it's still our belief that Snap is going to land in a better place where interactive cards are a bit more niche. Decks aren't overly incentivized to overload on them. Then we're continuing to make adjustments. We're confident whether to keep or revert Shadow King's change for the tech imbalance event. Ultimately, we did decide to reverse it. A few weeks later, we have more conviction that this will make the game more fun. This will make Shadow King more of a card you're willing to play for its points, rather than something you can easily slot into a double card turn for turn 6 to flip the game over. It really did feel like Shadow King, you just held it in your hand all game, and when you could fit it into a turn, it felt pretty good. But now it's a 3-4. Maybe you're playing it on turn 4. Maybe you're playing it on turn 5 just to get a good chunk of value out of it, as opposed to trying to go for a big high roller flip because it does have that 4 power. I like it. It's probably not going to see too terribly much play, but it's as always going to be very meta dependent. I also acknowledge that this buff is in some capacity to Horde as well, as Shadow King was an amazing way to clear out the Horde. It isn't clear to us how much this is going to move the needle, but again, we'll be quick to adjust Horde if it becomes clear we made a overcorrection. As for Mobius, we felt at the time we buffed him that it was a net improvement to the metagame. Boo! You were wrong! You were wrong! You're wrong! No! Due to the amount of cost reduction that is being slotted into a variety of decks. Now that many of those cards are in better balanced states, we feel it can once again make a relatively high opportunity cost to put it in your deck. And finally, we're buffing a tech card, Rouge. She's been seeing some increased play recently with the rise of Vic Hand, but historically, she's been overlooked for other tech options for some time. While overall, we want to keep tech's presence more muted than it has been in some time, we still want the Snap experience to be as diverse as possible, making it a close decision as to which tech cards might want to play on a weekly basis as metagames evolve. It's an important part of the experience. Love that. Tech cards should be cards that kind of come up to fight against certain decks and be a tool that your deck can use, not something that just feels very strong and okay with slotting into just about any deck. I think Rouge is really good. So if you're an enjoyer of just a good, solid, fair-feeling tech card, Rouge was already good at 3-3. She's going to be very, very strong. Firelord, which is, if you didn't know, on reveal, revive one of your discarded or destroy 3-cost cards here, going from a 4-6 to a 4-7. And we have the Warlock going from a 3-3 to a 3-4. So we just have a couple of very small buffs to cards that have been overlooked. You probably haven't seen Firelord. I think I've run one deck with Firelord when Butt came on the stream, but I've never touched that card. And Warlock getting a little bit more oomph. I don't know, Fire Lord kind of interesting now. 4/7 is a giant card, so we'll see what happens there. Fire Lord's archetypes have stiff competition and a rather large barrier to entry, including more expensive cards in the discard and destroy decks, respectively. So I want to throw a bone to players who are interested in building those decks in unique ways. With Warlock in particular, we'll be sure to keep an eye on it, as it is a card we deem rather risky in development. Combination of a power and presumably reducing the amount of Mobius in the metagame should do some good work for improving it. Energy generation is a naturally powerful effect, but I hope that this is a unique and fun twist on it. That's all for today. Happy snap. Overall, I really like what they did. I love that they binged Mobius back down. That is wonderful. Get rid of that card. It's really interesting with all these tech cards going to 3. There's really no like 2-cost tech card anymore. Ooh, so that's going to be something that people are going to probably have to go back to the drawing board and figure out if they need to make adjustments on that. Also, like Cerebro 2 losing Shadow King might actually be pretty darn impactful. Cerebro 2 has just kind of been this like slow moving menace in the background for quite a while. Love seeing the Horde get a little bit. This is the most impactful nerf. I think that this will really hurt the back end of those decks, and I really do think that if this deck continues to be a problem, then you will be seeing a lot of Lady Deathstrike, and it's going to be awesome watching Lady Deathstrike devour a Jocasta and devour a Invisible Woman First Steps at the same time. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I believe that's all for today. Hope that you enjoy the buffs and nerfs. I think that this one is pretty chill. Let me know down in the comments below which one was your favorite. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And thank you for being here. Go ahead, you can play the song.
Binks, binks, binks. I hope you like the vibe. Binks, binks. Like and subscribe. Binks, binks. I hope you like the vibe. Binks, binks. Like and subscribe.